With the new iPhones that just were announced, I think it's about time we take another look at which iPhone is most worth buying right now for you. Hey, how's it going? I'm Josh from 91 Tech, and this is my iPhone buying guide for late 2018. So if you've been around here for a while, I'm sure you know how this works. I'm going to go through each tier of iPhone from the $1,000 ones to the $50 ones and explain whether or not they're worth it right now. And at the end of all of this, I'll give you guys my personal recommendation for both budget users and those looking for something a little bit more premium. And let's start this off with the brand new iPhone XS and XS Max. Still getting used to those names, but that's what they are. The XS is of course the best iPhone on the market right now, but it comes in at a whopping $1,000 price tag and doesn't really do all that much different than the 10. The XS Max on the other hand is much bigger at 6.5 inches instead of 5.8, and so if you're wanting a bigger iPhone 10, that would be the phone to go for, if your wallet can handle the $1,100. The fact is that it's typically not worth it to buy the newest iPhone at release, and I would say there's no exception here. Only buy the XS or the XS Max if money is no object, or you want the best of the best. The XS isn't the only iPhone Apple showed off at their keynote. We also have to talk about the iPhone XR. The XR actually got me a lot more excited than the XS did because it's actually doing things differently and coming in at a significantly lower price tag, being $750. That's still a lot, mind you, but for an iPhone that's actually pretty good. It's basically the same as the XS when it comes to performance, but with aluminum sides, a worse LCD display, and without the telephoto lens. If none of that really meant anything to you, then trust me when I say you won't miss it. The iPhone XR is a great option for those more budget oriented but who still want something brand new, and I fully recommend it for those who just like the look and feel of the phone, or for those who just want a nice new phone that won't need to be upgraded for a few years. Plus, the XR comes in a ton of different colors. What's not to like? Now we come to last year's flagship, the iPhone X. The iPhone X was very expensive at launch and has been discontinued with the release of the iPhone XS and XR, but you can still find them pretty easily used, as well as through some carriers that still have them in stock. The X is still a great phone that feels fluid and amazing on iOS 12 and really isn't that much worse than this year's phone. That said, even if you're buying it used, it's probably more worth it to just go for one of the new phones from this year, as it won't be that much more money and is going to be definitely a better experience. I would say you should go for the XR over the X unless you really want that OLED panel. The iPhone 8 and 8 Plus are both great options right now, as Apple has just lowered the price on their website down to $600 for the regular sized 8, which is honestly pretty hard to argue with. Plus, if you're going to do some looking around, you should be able to find a good deal on eBay, and prices will be going down pretty quickly for used phones since the new ones just came out. Right now they seem to go for around $500, but give it a few months and that'll probably drop. Plus, you can find great deals on contract with certain carriers, which is always a good option. The 8 is a pretty darn good phone, and it's even better if you prefer Touch ID and the home button to Face ID. The 8 Plus is definitely the better option, having an amazing battery and being as fast as the iPhone X with that extra gigabyte of RAM over the 8. But if you like smaller phones, the 8 will be a great option too, and also will be better on your wallet. The iPhone 7 and 7 Plus are still great phones in 2018 and are still being sold brand new by Apple, coming in at $450 to start for the 7. That's not bad, but I would recommend paying the extra $150 and getting the 8, at least if you're buying brand new. If you're going to buy used, an iPhone 7 can be picked up pretty cheap for under $400 on eBay, which is a solid price point for a legitimately great phone. However, I would say that generally it's better to buy an iPhone 8. The iPhone 6s and 6s Plus are definitely aging, but honestly still hold up pretty well 3 years after release. Not only do they perform well on iOS 12, but they are also very cheap both on contract and used. They have been discontinued by Apple with the release of the new iPhone, so you're going to need to look elsewhere, which is what I would have recommended anyways. I would say you should get them used, as the 6s can be found for $200 relatively easily on eBay or maybe Craigslist, and it's definitely worth that price. The iPhone SE is basically the 6s but smaller and has been the best budget iPhone for a long time. While it has been discontinued by Apple, no longer being sold on their site, you should still be able to find it on contract, although buying used or refurbished is also a great option for under $200. The iPhone SE is a great phone in 2018, and I can't recommend it enough for those that consider themselves on a budget. Going down even further, we have the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus. These can be found on eBay for under $200, but I'd strongly recommend against going for them, as the similarly priced SE is a lot better and is going to be worth it in the long run. If you do want a bigger screen, then I would say spend a little bit more and get that 6S. You're not going to regret it. The 6 is feeling pretty slow, and just a little bit of extra money can make your life a lot easier. If you have an iPhone 6 right now, you're probably fine, but I wouldn't recommend buying one. And at the bottom of the list for supported iPhones, we have the 5S, which can easily be found for under $100 on eBay.com, which is a steal. Not only can the 5S run iOS 12, but it really doesn't feel too outdated in 2018. If you need a cheap budget phone, you really can't go wrong with the 5S. Just keep in mind the battery life might not be great considering these things are now 5 years old. Anything older than the 5S probably just isn't worth it anymore, and while phones like the 5C and 5 are usable in 2018, I'd say it's more worth it to pay slightly more and get the 5S. So what do I recommend overall? Well, if you're looking to buy new, you have a couple options. If you want the form factor of the iPhone 10 just a tiny bit bigger, I would go for the iPhone XR. Not only is it a great deal at $750, but it's almost as good as the XS with few differences between. Hard to argue with that. Just keep in mind that the XR hasn't been released yet as of recording this video and will be open to pre-order starting October 19th. If you're not a huge fan of the iPhone XR or maybe want something a bit cheaper, you could go for the iPhone 8 or 8 Plus. Not only are they a great value for their performance, they still have the home button, which I know a lot of people like. You aren't going to regret buying either of these phones. When it comes to the XR or the 8, you just need to figure out which form factor you prefer, an all-screen display without a home button or the classic iPhone 6-esque look and feel. If you're more budget-minded, I would recommend the 6S or SE. Both phones are very cheap used and can also be found with good deals on contracts. These phones are going to get you through life very comfortably with good performance and great cameras, and best yet, they won't make your wallet want to jump off a bridge. Last but not least, if you're really on an extreme budget, go for the iPhone 5S. Don't even question it, just do it. It has iOS 12, it probably won't get 13 next year, but it's good for at least a year, and I've seen them go for as low as $50 on eBay, and I mean at that price you just can't complain. It's a solid deal and one I can't recommend enough. And I think that's about all I've got. I think right now the best overall phone to buy is probably the 8 or maybe the SE if you're buying used, but what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope this helped, and if it did, maybe hit that like button and consider subscribing for more content just like this. I probably won't do another one of these buying guides until January, as I think this will apply for the rest of 2018. Nothing's really going to change in a few months, and so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow me over on Twitter and Instagram if you so desire, links below. And with that all being said, I'm Josh from 91 Tech, and I will see you all next time.